All right, so social justice. It's
Yeah.
like, it's everywhere these days.
Mm,
But for Hebrew Israelites, it's not just like some trendy thing.
right.
It's about action. It's about faith, and it's like woven into their entire history.
Absolutely.
So in this deep dive, we're going to explore social justice from their perspective.
Yeah, and I think what's so interesting is that for them, it's deeply rooted in their relationship with God.
Okay.
It's not just this abstract concept.
Right.
It's like a lived experience that goes back thousands of
So
years.
to understand that, we got to like go way back, right?
Exactly.
Like Old Testament back.
Yeah, the Exodus story is a great place to start.
Okay.
Most people know it's about freedom, but it's also a powerful example of God stepping in to deliver justice.
You're talking about plagues parting the Red Sea.
Yeah.
That's not just letting people go. That's making a statement.
It really is.
Yeah.
And for Hebrew Israelites, it goes beyond the story itself.
Okay.
It's about understanding that just as God fought for the Israelites' freedom,
Mm-hmm.
they are called to fight for the freedom and equality of all people.
So it's not just like we got ours, everybody else figured out.
Right.
It's more like we were liberated, and now it's our responsibility to make sure others experience that same liberation.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
The Exodus isn't just ancient history, it's a blueprint for action.
Okay.
It's a call to continue that legacy of fighting for justice.
Even today.
Even today.
Okay. I'm starting to see how this all connects.
Yeah.
But how does that ancient story like translate into real-world action for Hebrew Israelites today?
It's a two-pronged approach.
Okay.
Taking action in the community and changing hearts.
Changing hearts. I'm intrigued.
Okay.
Can you elaborate on what that means within the Hebrew Israelite context?
It's about understanding that righteousness isn't just about following laws. It's about how you treat others.
Okay.
About love, support, and building a society where everyone has the opportunity to thrive.
Okay.
It goes back to the Hebrew concept of tzedakah, which is often translated as righteousness,
Right.
but encompasses both acts of charity A&D working towards a more just world.
I'm starting to see how this ties back to the idea of community being so central to the Hebrew Israelite perspective.
Exactly.
We talked about tzedakah being about doing good deeds and working for justice.
Right.
So
In Hebrew, Israelite thought that commitment to justice is deeply tied to the concept of the nation of Israel, the collective responsibility to ensure the well-being of the whole community.
So it's not just about individual success.
Right.
It's about creating a society where everyone has the opportunity to reach their full potential.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about tackling issues that affect the whole community,
Yeah.
like access to education,
Mm-hmm.
fighting racism, creating economic opportunities,
Right.
things that impact everyone's ability to truly thrive.
Wow, that's a lot to take in.
Yeah,
It can feel overwhelming thinking about where to even begin.
I understand.
Yeah.
It's important to remember that you don't have to solve everything at once.
Okay. Start small, volunteer in your community.
Mm-hmm.
Use your voice to speak out against injustice.
Right.
Be the bridge between people who might not normally connect.
Yeah.
Even small acts of kindness and understanding can contribute to a more just world.
So it's not about being a superhero.
Right.
It's about taking those everyday steps that add up to something bigger.
Absolutely. Every action, no matter how small, is a step towards fulfilling that commitment to justice.
That's a great point.
Yeah,
And, it makes you think about, like, how we can all contribute in our own way.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be these grand gestures.
Right.
It's really about those everyday choices that we make.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's really empowering.
Absolutely.
Like knowing that we all have the power to make a difference.
Yeah, and that our actions, no matter how small, can ripple out and create positive change.
I love that.
Yeah,
That's a great way to think about it.
yeah. One thing that really stands out to me about the Hebrew Israelite approach to social justice.
Is that it's not just about fixing problems.
Mm-hmm.
It's about building something better.
That's an interesting distinction.
Yeah.
What do you mean by building something better in this context?
Think of it as creating like a model community,
Okay,
a society that reflects God's vision for the world,
right.
rooted in justice, righteousness, and love for one another.
Okay.
They believe that by building strong, self-sufficient communities
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
embody these values,
Yeah.
they can be a light to the world.
So it's not just about tearing down oppressive systems.
Right.
It's about creating a new reality that aligns with their beliefs and values.
Precisely. And a big part of that is the idea of empowerment.
Okay.
It's not just about giving handouts.
Right.
It's about equipping individuals and the community as a whole with the tools and resources they need to thrive.
Can you give me a concrete example of what that empowerment might look like in practice?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Let's say there's a neighborhood struggling with poverty.
Okay.
Instead of just providing temporary aid, the focus might shift to supporting the creation of local businesses,
Okay.
offering job training programs or establishing mentorship initiatives.
Right.
It's about giving people the means to become self-sufficient
Yeah.
and create a better future for themselves and their families.
That makes a lot of sense.
Uh,
It's a more sustainable approach to social justice
yeah,
than just addressing the symptoms of the problem.
exactly. And it goes back to that core value of community we talked about earlier.
Right.
It's about everyone working together,
Mm.
sharing resources,
Yeah.
and supporting each other's growth and development.
We've talked about the spiritual foundations of social justice in the Hebrew Israelite tradition
Right.
and the practical ways they try to enact those principles.
Yeah,
But I imagine it's not always easy, right?
of course.
They face challenges in navigating a world that doesn't always share their worldview.
Trying to bring about social change is never easy,
Right.
especially when your perspective isn't the dominant one.
Yeah.
There are bound to be misunderstandings, disagreements,
Sure.
even conflict.
How do they navigate those challenges?
Yeah,
How do Hebrew Israelites stay true to their beliefs and values
right.
while engaging with a world that might not always understand or agree with them?
That's a great question, and it gets to the heart of what makes their journey so compelling.
Okay.
It's about balancing their desire to maintain their distinct identity and traditions with the need to engage with the wider world and work towards a more just and equitable society for everyone.
So we've been talking about this balancing act,
Mhm.
staying true to their beliefs
Yeah,
while also engaging with the wider world.
right.
How do Hebrew Israelites actually walk that line when it comes to social justice?
Well, it's a real story of diverse approaches, you know.
Yeah.
Some groups, they really focus on building strong communities from within,
Okay.
you know, providing support and resources to those in need,
Mm-hmm.
creating spaces where, like, those values we've been discussing
Right.
are lived out daily.
Makes sense. Kind of like be the change you want to see,
Yeah,
but on a community level.
exactly.
Yeah.
But then you have other groups who are very much about outward-facing action,
Okay.
activism, advocacy, raising awareness about issues like racial injustice or economic inequality.
So two sides of the same coin.
Mm-hmm.
Internal strengthening entity, pushing for change in the larger society.
You got it. And both are important, right?
Right.
A strong internal foundation makes it possible to engage with the world from a place of strength and clarity.
But I imagine there are hurdles,
Oh, absolutely.
misconceptions about
Yeah.
Hebrew Israelites,
Sure.
maybe even prejudice they have to deal with.
One of the biggest challenges is just getting people to understand who they are and what they believe,
Right.
separating fact from fiction.
Yeah, it's easy to just lump people into categories
It is.
without really understanding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of misinformation out there,
Yeah.
which can make building bridges and having those tough conversations even harder.
So education becomes a key part of their social justice work.
It's essential.
Yeah.
It's about patiently explaining their beliefs,
Hmm.
their interpretations of scripture, their history,
All right.
and doing it in a way that invites dialogue even when there are disagreements.
This deep dive has really been a journey.
You have.
They've gone from ancient stories to modern day challenges.
Yeah.
And what strikes me is this deep commitment to creating a better world,
Mm-hmm.
not just for themselves,
Right.
but for everyone.
It's inspiring, isn't it?
It is.
Their story is a testament to the power of faith,
Mhm.
the importance of community, and this unwavering belief that justice is not just a concept, but something you work toward day in and day out.
I think what's resonating with me is that it's not about having all the answers.
Yeah.
It's about showing up, taking action, and having those tough conversations, even when it's uncomfortable,
Couldn't have said it better myself.
right?
And that's something we can all learn from, no matter our background or beliefs. Finding those small ways to make a difference, to build bridges, to fight for what's right.
Yeah.
That's where real change begins.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into social justice through a Hebrew Israelite lens.
Absolutely.
We hope you've learned something new
Mm-hmm.
and maybe even feel inspired to take action in your own communities.
That's what we hope for.
Until next time.
See ya.